Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM, AM 630, WMAL.
8:07 on the Morning Majority. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, Karen Henready in for Mary Catherine. Later today, big hearing up on Capitol Hill where the Attorney General of these United States is going to have to answer some pretty tough questions about Fast and Furious. One of the people who's going to be asking those questions is Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, a man who's been at the forefront of this investigation. We're very pleased to have him on the phone right now. Hello, Senator.
Yeah, hey, I'm glad to be with you. Let me correct something you just said. I can't ask questions of Holder in the House of Representatives, but I did.
I'm sorry, you're right.
But I did ask questions of Holder along these lines, although before I asked for Breuer's resignation, but I did have a chance to have both Holder and Breuer before the Senate.
And, Senator, thanks for that correction. You're absolutely right. This is a House hearing, not Senate hearing. But you did yesterday come out very strong and said that Assistant Attorney General Lanny Breuer needs to go. Tell me why. Well,
first of all, he's been telling us for months and months that he never had anything to do with that February 4th letter that had all the lies in it that they eventually retracted and apologized for, and even withdrew the letter. Now, can you imagine withdrawing a letter after it gets in the public domain? But that's what they said they wanted to do. So we have emails that he's been involved in, and we even have comments he made about the letter, which tells us that he really did review the letter. And then the second thing is, he said that he didn't know anything about Fast and Furious, and he knew about a previous program called Wide Receiver. Mm-hmm. And when he became knowledgeable about Wide Receiver in the summer of 2010, it should have signaled to him that this gun-running program called Fast and Furious was alive. And he didn't tell the Attorney General. He didn't tell the Attorney General's Chief of Staff. He didn't tell the Deputy Attorney General or the Inspector General. 4 people that should have known that we had a program that was selling 2,000 guns illegally and ended up in the murder of Brian Terry, a Border Patrol agent. So with those things, and this is the first time I ever remember in all the years I've been in the United States Senate giving a speech that called for a resignation. So I hope the information I just gave you, after all the misleading of Congress, failing to serve higher-ups in the Justice Department as he should have with proper information, that led to this murder. I didn't come to this decision lightly. I hope you know.
I know that you're that kind of guy, that you thought long and hard about it.
What is your sense, Senator, then? How much in the know was Eric Holder? Was he kept in the dark on purpose? We've talked to a lot of different people about that. One of our legal experts, Joe DeGeneva, you probably know him, former prosecutor, he believes that a lot of the stuff is the problem comes from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Phoenix and Dennis Burke, who resigned back in August. He thought that he was kind of the bad apple, and he was responsible for all this and may have kept people in Washington in the dark about it, may have lied to people in Washington about it. Do you believe that is accurate?
Well, I believe that people higher up than Dennis Burke knew about this, or should have known about it, and particularly when a lot of people were present at the funeral for Brian Terry, and a lot of these things were discussed, and even beyond the Justice Department, the Department of Homeland Security, and some questioning even I had of Secretary Napolitano, that there's no doubt about it. And Dennis Burke is very much involved as well. But I wouldn't, if you're saying to me that this was entirely a Phoenix operation that they didn't know anything about in the Justice Department, I think it'd be fair to say that I don't agree with that.
Okay. Let me, if I could turn, while we have you here,
yes,
I really want to talk a little bit about Iowa politics, because I think it's so interesting what's going on right now. And here's my question. You got a guy named Newt Gingrich. All the polls seem to show he's got like a 13 to 15 point lead in the state of Iowa among likely caucus goers. But on the other side of the equation, one hears that Newt Gingrich, it doesn't have a very deep bench in Iowa. He doesn't have an organization in Iowa and may not actually even be in all 99 counties. You understand this sort of unusual caucus system better than most. Which is more important, have the popular support or to have a good organization? Who wins under that scenario?
Well, if you'd go back over all of the caucuses that have been so important, I think at least since the 76 election, 1976 campaign, ground organization would be the thing that makes a difference. But we've got so many candidates this year, and none of them seem to be the sort of person that can line up the real power structure of the Republican Party in Iowa. And there is so much emphasis upon these debates and upon just television appearances generally, or even radio programs like yours as an example. It seems to me that this year is a little bit different, and ground organization is not quite as important as it used to be in the past. And so I'd have to say it's just a little bit different, and the only difference I can give is just so many candidates, not one solidifying anybody at this point, and the fact that there's so much done on television, not only through the debates but otherwise, more or less free television.
How's Ron Paul going to do? Because he's supposed to have a really good organization, and he's not doing too badly in the polls.
And he's got the most loyal backing of anybody. But here's what I think you got to keep in the back of your mind now, 3.5 weeks out from January the 3rd, and that is that the polls show that 60% of the people, even if they're backing somebody now, could change between now and January the 3rd. That's how fluid it is, and this is I've been involved in these at least since 1976. This is the first time, I think the first time that I haven't taken part, no, the second time I haven't taken a part in backing somebody, and I'm going to stay out of it. But it's just different.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Senator Grassley, you brought up the importance of that the debates have played so far for these candidates, and there's no denying that. Do you think Donald Trump is an appropriate moderator for this upcoming debate? We know that Mitt Romney is not going to participate. Michelle Bachmann hasn't yet decided. Does that diminish the office of the presidency that these men and women are contending for?
I've heard that argument. I don't think I agree with it. And I think if I said Donald Trump couldn't hold a debate, if people want to participate in the debate, and don't take offense to this, but it'd be like saying only people like you in journalism have the capability of holding debates. The only thing I would say about Trump is that if he's got any possibility that he would still want to get in this presidential race, then I think it would be intellectually dishonest for him to hold the debate, or if he is going to back one of these candidates, then and he showed any sort of partiality towards that person, and I'm not saying he would, but if he would, then I think that's two reasons he shouldn't be involved. Right. But otherwise, it'd be like my saying if Trump couldn't do it, that only journalists can do it, and I don't think you folks have a hold on questioning people that are in politics.
I don't even have a hold on what I'm having for lunch. Senator, thank you so much. It's good to have you. Always a pleasure to have you on our show.
Before you go, could I thank you and people like you all over the country that are interested in Fast and Furious, because it's people like you and your listeners that need to keep the pressure on this administration to get to the bottom of this gun-walking policy. So I want you to know that I appreciate your help.
Well, you're welcome here anytime that you have news to talk about on this topic.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Senator.